Namaskar. Welcome back to another live on Thursday here on YouTube. And if you're watching on Facebook, welcome back. Um, if you're new here, just a little bit about me. This is Aditya Soma. I'm a real estate investor and real estate agent here in Windsor, Essex. And on this channel, I talk a lot about how to achieve financial freedom using real estate, because that's what real estate has done to me. I achieved my financial freedom through real estate. And also this channel is purely for you, how you can use this real estate vehicle to achieve freedom for you and for your family. So if you're joining new, please don't hesitate to put your name and where you're joining live from in the comments below. And also, today I'm not gonna do too much of my side, because I have a special guest for you guys. Especially if you're an aspiring agent, or you're already an agent, want to get to 6-figure or 7-figure income, want to be a top agent, then you're in treat, because I have here my good friend Matthew Campoli, who is actually a top 2% realtor in Canada, and also hit 35, top 35 under 35, and 25, top 20 in social media, using social media, because that's something I'm super excited. So, Matthew, thank you so much, man, for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I just had Aditya on my podcast, and that was a lot of fun. I got to learn all about him,
yeah.
and I guess he wants to learn a little bit about me. So
Yeah, exactly. And especially like I mentioned, my channel is all about investing, right? So I see you're also an investor and realtor, so who's crushing on both the sides. So that's a perfect mix that I would like to introduce to my audience. See, they can learn a lot from people like you who are achieving at the highest level. So thank you, man. And guys, if you're just joining, uh, let us know in the comments where you're joining the live from. And also, I strongly believe if you want to achieve financial freedom, you got to ask the questions that is been in your mind, because especially I'm bringing in this super awesome guest for you, so that you can learn. So don't hesitate to type in your question in the chat box, so that even just one question that has been in your mind, that if it gets answered, you're on your way path for achieving your freedom. So with that, further any ado, Matt, for those who don't know you, who are you, where are you coming from, how did you get into real estate, and just give us a quick snippet there. What's your background? And
yeah, I love long walks on the beach. I love food.
Mhm.
um, yeah, I'm a GTA realtor. I grew up in Vaughan, so Vaughan, Ontario, just north of the GTA. I now reside downtown, but a
Mhm.
lot of my work is in Vaughan, Simcoe region, just the surrounding parts. Pretty much, will take a service anywhere that is under an hour away. Um, been in the business for about 6 years. Real estate wasn't my initial plan. I initially went to school. I studied history. My background is a Bachelor of Arts degree in history. I was going to teach, and then ended up running a barber business just on the side, and became a barber and did that for 9 years. And then I got my real estate license after I graduated university. And yeah, just kind of a little entrepreneur in me woke up at a later age, and then here I am. So I've been practicing real estate for about 6 years now, and it's been a fun ride for sure.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. So there's a lot to unpack. You're trying to be modest there. So, first of all, also what you didn't mention here is like you're doing a podcast, Price to Sell, which is amazing in my opinion. Like I do follow you very often. The content is amazing there. You interview all top realtors, and their secrets. So that's if someone is curious about learning more in deep about sales side, so I would strongly recommend, watch out Matthew's podcast there. So take us a step back, like how was your first year as a new agent, because you're coming from history teacher, and then barber. That's like completely two different animals. So what made you to get into real estate, and how was your first year?
So I essentially growing up, my parents were divorced. My mom, I'm super close to both my parents. I lived with my mom, and we lived in a basement apartment. She rented her whole life, and all my friends, because I grew up in Vaughan. Vaughan's a nice area. All my friends had homes. I never had the house. We lived in a basement. So I was always like wondering, like, why don't I have this? So I had a passion, subconsciously, whatever you want to call it, but I was just programmed to always want a house. And I was just like obsessed with homes, and like I would go to new home sales sites, get brochures, bring it to her, like, can you buy these? I didn't understand the financial situation at the time, and the fact that she at the time couldn't afford. But fast forward, when I was about in my early 20s, she finally ended up purchasing her first home, and I was in university for history at the time, and my bar business had started as a hobby. And then I just went with her to see the house. I saw the realtor pull up. I saw him do his job. And then everything started to click for me. I was like, okay, I have this great network from my barbering business. I developed some really cool skills. I don't want to become a teacher, no offense. It just wasn't for me. So I said, let me, this real estate thing looks fun. Let me give it a shot. And then I still got my degree just to show my grandparents, like, here, look, I went to university. And I got my real estate license, and I started to work as a realtor, but I had zero experience in business at all. I grew my barber business from scratch, just, I guess being the way I am naturally. I learned a lot through that, but I didn't know. I sucked at math. I didn't know anything in terms of how to build a business. I didn't know any of that. So my first day in real estate, I just was like, I have no idea what to do. I just stared at the MLS and I was like, okay, now what? I don't know where to even begin. So it was interesting first couple of months for me, for sure.
So when did you get your first sale?
My first sale was about 6 months in.
Wow. So like what, how did you find that first client? And, can you just run down, like, what was the experience like? How did you find the client and how did you put it together? Because, brand new, having no clue, definitely that's not easy.
I hit Instagram early. I'll never forget. I always joke to my broker of record to this day. He's my mentor. He told me, don't waste your time. He's like, go knock on doors, go cold call. I was doing cold calling. I was door knocking. I joined a small little team. I was getting coached with Mike Ferry. I knew all the scripts. I was cold calling daily. And he told me, do not waste your time on Instagram. But I was like, I'm a bit rebellious. So I'm like, I'm going to waste my time on Instagram. He's like, you'll never get business off Instagram. And I like to cater a little bit of me exposing myself early on Instagram, plus the network I already had for my barber business. I had a very good clientele. I was planting the seed. I did not quit cutting hair my first 2.5 years.
Okay, so you're still doing real estate like part-time?
No, I was real estate full-time. The barbering was just in the evenings. Like,
okay.
I go to the office, and then next time I'd go cut hair from like 6 to 9 because I did it out of my house.
Hustle,
right?
Yeah.
So every guy that came in my chair, I was planting seeds. Like, hey, just I got my real estate license. And then my first deal came from one guy's like, my cousin needs to sell his condo at Weston and Finch. Do you want to list it? I was like, yeah, let's do it. And it was about 6 months in. I'll never forget it. I sold it. I was at a music festival. Young guy. I like to have a good time at the time. And I still do sometimes. But ended up negotiating in the porta potty because the music was so loud. In the porta potty, getting the calls, negotiating. I got 2 offers and I sold it within 24 hours. So that was cool. Cool first experience for sure. That's a story I always tell. It's a weird situation, but
there's a lot to learn from that story, right? Like, that's a great story in my opinion. Like, because a lot of first who are aspiring realtors or already existing realtors underestimate that planting seeds.
Yeah,
that's a big thing. Like, in my opinion, I have a new agent just joined my team like a month ago, my cousin. So I told him the same thing. Like, you got to plant seeds as much as possible everywhere. Like, you go anywhere you go, you have to plant a seed. Just build the relation. And that story, your story reminded me his story, because he got his first listing today. We had a photo shoot for that listing, because it's been less than a month. He got his first listing because every person he came in contact, he was talking about his story, and he's getting to know them. And this guy, the guy whom he went to take a photo, like profile picture for our the passport photo, and
Yeah.
this guy became his client. So
Right.
just, yeah.
Yeah.
And they have no clue, they don't know each other until he went for photos.
It's so
But
true. It's so true.
so
Yeah, a lot of people want, a lot of realtors, where we go wrong is we want the instant gratification, whether that's a social media video. So you just
yeah,
spend $800 on a video and you get nothing from it.
yeah,
People get discouraged because it's like, okay, I put out the content, I'm not getting any leads.
yeah,
But
no one.
the thing that they're not seeing is that people are watching that. People have made
Yeah,
note that seed has been planted, and whether they reach out 3 months, 6 months from that point, they're still reaching out because of that video. So
yeah,
it's a big game of patience and trusting and believing that things are going to come to fruition.
yeah, yeah.
Just got to
Super powerful.
stay consistent.
Yeah, love it. And so from the first sale, so how did it go after that? Like what did you do to get to where you are now? Like you're crushing it on social media. I see you pretty much like almost every day, um, doing some posts or listing videos, or different things, because especially your listing gets crazy amount of views and traction. So what did you started doing from then?
So I mean, I think my third year was when things really started to come in, like really started to unfold for me. But the consistent posting, again, planting seeds. Everyone I was throwing cards, giving cards, giving cards, giving cards. Um, for me, it was a lot of that consistency. By the end
Mhm.
of my first year, I had very good traction. I started to get a lot of buyers, a lot of listings, made a lot of mistakes, but I started to build that consistent network, and then the
Mhm.
referrals started to come in. I did a lot of leases. I did a lot of leases. I spent a lot of my time downtown in the city of Toronto doing leases, and I love that I did that because I got experience in every building. I knew
Mm.
where to park. Parking in Toronto is not fun. I know where to
Yeah.
park. And having that knowledge, even though I'm just working with tenants, going through every single building and seeing the layouts and seeing, and learning, what building is good, what building is not, what perks each building has, allowed me for when the time that my buyers came to invest in Toronto, I knew everything about the condos,
Yeah.
right? So my first year to 2 years was a lot of just being out there, spending a lot of time doing maybe the lower earning
Yeah.
um,
Yeah,
things.
because that, especially like the bigger agents, they don't want to do the leasings. And
I
when
won't
you're,
say anymore, but in the beginning, it was great. It was great.
yeah, and also on top of it, like you're building your database, you're learning all these things, and at the same time, you're building this people who moved into a house. They could become a buyer, or home buyer 1 year down the road, 2 years down the road, because now you have their profile.
Yeah,
That's amazing. I haven't done leasings, but I heard some cool stories. A lot of people, especially in Toronto, like they start with this leasings because that's a great place, and people don't need too much of a crazily, where see your experience. They just see, are you bringing enough leads from them for them to see the properties? Are you going showing 10, 20 condo units?
yeah, exactly. And I essentially I did the team thing for maybe 4 months.
Mhm.
After that, my first year. After that, I just hit the ground running alone, and just again, I enjoyed putting myself in a situation where I needed to perform, or else I was making no money. And just like your new team member there, I
Mhm.
was doing networking events. I was going to dinners, a lot of dinners. I was going to social outings. I was going out to clubs in the weekends, not to be get drunk, but to network and meet people, because again, a lot of those people became my lease clients and they became my
Yeah.
purchasers. And a lot of those people are now my biggest clients, right? So it's
Purposeful relations.
sorry,
You're building purposefully the relations.
yeah, you go out with intention. Just
Intention, yeah, intentional relation building. That's
trying to,
amazing.
I had a thing where every day I wake up and I want to meet 3 new people, and the gym has been another great business source for me. I joke about this, but the sauna, I called it the wormhole of success, because I would go in the sauna and it's just a great place to network. As weird as that sounds, but I got a lot of business done in the sauna. And there's so many different, with COVID made things difficult, but now that the world is open, there's really no excuse why you can't put yourself out there and just talk to people.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And you're coming across people all the time, but like you mentioned, people don't have patience to plant those seeds intentionally, and they will come, they'll start giving you fruits maybe 1, 2, 3 years down the road, like you mentioned. And you touched on, like, you were a team member and then you went on your own. Can you touch a little bit on, like, a lot of new people ask me this question: hey, do I have to join a team, or can I be on my own? What is your take on, like, who will, for whom it's better to join the team, or for whom, like, go on their own?
Well, I mean, everyone's different, right? I had the confidence in my ability. Like, I love talking to people. I love being out there. I saw results quickly, where I was confident in my own abilities, knowing that I could be by myself and kill it. And I enjoy, I call it like strapping myself. For example, my second year, I got my dream car. Could I necessarily afford it? Did it make sense on paper? No. But I did it to light a little fire under my rear, so I would have no choice but to go and make that money.
Wow.
And we're in a business where we have no ceiling.
Yeah.
I want to go make $1 million this year, I can.
Yeah.
It's up to me at the end of the day. It's up to you at the end of the day. So by removing myself from that team quickly, again, I lost that security, I lost that comfort, and I operate best in uncomfortable situations. Now there's people out there where they might be comfortable making, just whatever salary they want, and they might love the team setting where they're constantly learning, they're having leads given to them. So I think it's different for everyone. But if you're just starting out, I wouldn't become complacent on the idea of getting fed business. I would still make it a mission to get your own. Whatever you get from a team is a bonus, but I think joining a team, the biggest benefit is to learn. Get a mentor figure, whether that's your team leader or someone else, and find someone who's doing exactly what you want to do. Find someone who has the similar personality, similar traits, similar skill set, maybe even a similar background, and follow that.
Yeah, love that. And I want to touch a bit on, like, your dream car. So what was the car?
Well, now it's changed, but I've been driving it for
at that time, like, let's go step by step. Like, now we're in the second year.
Audi S5.
Okay. So, for someone who is just, like, starting out, right? Like, what are some of the things that you would suggest, like, especially if they want to build their business using this network, but also, like, social media, like, using Instagram? What would you do differently than, if what you have done first year versus now?
Well, I mean, I'd say 90% of us get paralyzed by the camera, right? That's how we're on it enough.
Yeah.
So I was that guy too. I was scared. I would always criticize, like, shit, is this picture going to do well? Are people going to hate on me? Are people going to judge me? We all have that thought process. We all go, we're our own worst enemy at the end of the day. But as you become, again, it's a confidence thing. And the more you are consistently posting, the more you start to break through those barriers and realize that, it doesn't matter what people think. As long as you're being yourself, your authentic self, as long as you're not trying to be someone you're not, people love that. People are attracted to that. And what I've learned is just by putting myself out there pretty early on in my career, and me being myself is just, I have dry humor. I can be an idiot sometimes, and I just love to be quirky and all, like, weird. That's me. I put myself out there. I'm a weird guy. I love it,
And people who likes that, like, who can connect to you will connect to you.
Yeah, and as you start to get the positive feedback, which you don't even expect you'll get, you're going to want to do it more and more. And the more consistent you are with it, just like yourself, the more relevant you become. And that's how you grow. That's how you grow a following. That's how you grow your database. That's how you grow your community. and out of that community comes more business, right?
Yeah.
Your community could be mixed with a bunch of agents, and those agents, like you and I, for example, could be a good referral system. Right? So I'm huge on collaboration. I'm huge on just putting your authentic self out there, being your true self, and you'll attract the right people that you actually want to work with versus the people you don't. It's a good
I
filter.
love that part. Initially, like when I was started on social media, like I used to think, oh, I gotta be this way. But soon I learned, no, I gotta be the way I want, because the way I am. Because if I'm not being myself, like I'm gonna attract wrong person. Probably if I start working, and I will end up with the frustration. Rather, like if someone coming liking me the way I am, it's more easier because they already trust me. I don't have to mimic myself, or I don't have to put a fake mask on myself. Oh, I'm this person. That I love that advice. So if you guys are new just listening to this, let me know what you guys think. And let's jump on some questions here, Matthew, before I continue, because I have a lot of questions for you. So
Yeah,
you
sure.
got to be patient with me here. But if you Kiran, hi Aditya and Matthew. I'm also from Nizamabad. That's a place where I am from, settled in
Cool.
Dallas. Nice. Good to hear from you, Kiran. Sijo Francis, sorry if I mispronounce your name. Hey, brother, I'm a mortgage agent now stepping into real estate. And there is a follow up question here. Any advice has starting new in real estate, because I'm not like mortgage agents. I'm not liking mortgages.
So I want to know why you don't like mortgages.
Mhm.
They're different, but they're still similar in many ways. They're both businesses. But if you want to start in real estate, I mean, just you got to be a people person. You're gonna be definitely be out there a lot more, traveling. But building your mortgage business and building your real estate business is similar. You got to build your network. You got to let everybody know that you're in the business. In terms of building your business and your foundation, both are very similar.
Yeah, both are sales.
Yeah, both are sales at the end of the day. So, your lingo is going to be different. The product is different, but you still need to build your database. And just any advice I give now is just get everyone on social media, put yourself out there, put your real self out there, and be consistent. It's a lot of work in the beginning without results, but it'll come.
Yeah, I love that advice. And also, like France just asking, like I was also a mortgage agent before I got my license. I see what he mean, because mortgage is like you got to sit in front of the computer all the time, doing the applications. That's a lot more paperwork more than like. But
Yeah.
again, there is always a lot of discussions over there. You can delegate whatever you don't like to. But long story short, I agree with you. At the end, both of them are the sales business. You need to build your database. It could be with the physical connections that you can establish, or social media. I would say both together, combination. Love that. Let's go on to the next question here. Kiran, my question is, is it literally necessary to buy a property for an Airbnb startup?
If you're asking if you need to purchase a house or a condo in order to begin an Airbnb business, no. It's called rental arbitrage. It's a good way to enter into that kind of portfolio. You just find a landlord who is willing to lease their place out to you. My advice is to be honest with them and truthful. There's ways to draft up a contract and structure it to appeal to them, and then you just sublease on Airbnb. And it's a good way to cash flow with very low down. You're just doing a first and last month rent and security deposit, and that's a good way to get started in Airbnb for sure.
Yeah, that's actually a great advice, because if you don't have funds or you don't qualify for a mortgage as of now, that's a great place to start with. Love it. And yeah, I see a lot of questions popping in about Airbnb here. So before we answer this question, can you share us your your investing side experience? Why did you get into investing side, and how is that going now?
I read Rich Dad Poor Dad at 19 years old.
Oh, there you go.
And Think and Grow Rich. So
yeah,
I do not want to work for my money. That's it. My money is going to work for me. I'm young. I'm trying to get myself built, my foundation built now, so I can really do the things I want to experience. I want to travel the world and stuff like that, right? So money's got to work for me. That's why I invest.
Yeah, love that. And so what type of investments are you focusing on more?
I love Airbnb right now. Like I just bought in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
the Airbnb, and I
Would you
mean,
mind sharing the details, like numbers, what it looks like?
sure. So like I currently run Airbnb in the city of Toronto,
Mhm.
which Mike has a point here because if I want to scale, since that one is my primary label is my primary, I can
Yeah.
get another one. But the way to do it is you can JV with people. So find someone who can go on as a primary, go 50-50 with
Mm.
them, and then there you go, you're a second condo. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
probably entertain more condos in Toronto just with JV partners who can go on as primaries. But for example, my unit in Toronto in the summer months right now is doing super well. In the month of June, we did close to 15,000 gross revenue. It's just
Wow.
it's 690 square foot condo, one bedroom and a den.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's the expenses on that 15,000?
We netted because I have a property management team. I'm very hands off. I don't do any of it. I don't have the time, and these guys are fantastic. So
Mhm.
the net was 11,200, and our carrying cost was 3,200. So it was a $9,000 profit for the month.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
and
insane.
yeah.
So
And this,
what's the property price then? Like, how much did you purchase the property for?
right now, something like mine is about 800,000. When I
Mhm.
purchased it, it was 715. And but these are current Airbnb numbers. So
So
for things,
what's the that sounds like, really good numbers, right? What are some of the elements that you look for to get this kind of numbers?
so Airbnb is all about being unique. You need to. So for example, I bought a floor plan where the den was functional that I can convert it to a second bed. So we
Mm.
call a Murphy bed, a sofa bed, and then the master bedroom. So all in all, my unit can sleep 8 to 9 people. We advertise it as 6. Just obviously we got
Mhm.
to keep it comfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but I'm essentially getting close to 2 bedroom rates because I have 2 beds, but I paid for a 1+ den in terms of the value of the actual condo. So that's a little bit of a hack. And then I got it professionally designed from a designer,
Mhm.
furniture, colors, artwork, all of that. So Airbnb and with the algorithm and everything, they want to see really cool, trendy places, right?
Mm.
For example, my Florida house, we're designing it right now to look like a designer home, Louis Vuitton,
Wow.
for example, right? Because a lot of those style homes do well. So themes work. You got to stand out amongst the crowd. So Airbnb is
Mhm.
it's all about how functional the floor plan is, how you maximize the space, and how well it's designed. And then that's how you can earn a larger nightly rate, and all in all, gross more.
That sounds interesting. And like you said, you're using the property management. How is that experience? Like, I haven't had that good experience in Windsor. How is the property management doing in Florida or like in Toronto?
My first experience, first company wasn't the best. I was very hands-on, putting out a lot of fires. I didn't enjoy that at all. Actually, I kind of turned me off from the whole Airbnb game in the beginning. This was 2019, and then I met a new partner who owns another company. They're called Park Place, and
Mhm.
they've been running my units for the past 2 years, and they are flawless. I'm very hands off. I actually just received my invoice in the bank account, my earnings, and that's it. And the beauty of them is that they're also in Florida, so
Wow.
I'm going to be using the same team for my property over there.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Here we got a follow-up question from Mike. Where are your JV partners living through during the other 6 months when you cannot Airbnb?
Well, I'm not living at my property; it's still my primary. All the regulations. So you have to get an STR license with the city of Toronto, and all they want to see is that your address on your driver's license matches that property that you're registered for short-term rental. Same goes for other properties, right?
Yeah,
If
and also just a disclaimer, we are not a professional financial advisors or anything here. We are just random people on YouTube just talking about our personal experiences. So please consult your professionals.
yeah, I mean, I go into my building lobby, so
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Here we got a question from Francis. Thank you for answering my question. And is it okay to post in social media about real estate even before getting the license?
Um, yeah, because that's planting seeds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Unless if you're claiming yourself as a real estate agent before you became an agent, that's a false statement. But no one is stopping you posting, "Hey, I love this type of real estate," or I'm doing this with the real estate, or I'm getting my license, or I'm in the process of, I just got my second course completed. No one is going to stop you with all those content. That's how I started too. Like I started my social media on the day I registered for my license. From that day, like I started posting, oh, here is how I got my first home. And if your parents have a home, if you don't have a home, oh, here is my parents' home. I'm going to show you, give you a tour. So there's a lot of things you can do. You don't have to have a license to do social media. So social media, because it's what social media means, right? What's the fundamentals? It you're connecting with other people. The real estate is just the element.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. And just going back here, Via Racing, probably that's not the name, I'm assuming, from Wagon, looking to buy in Windsor in the next couple of months. What was your first property? So maybe, Matthew, what was your first property? And then I'll share mine.
Mine was this condo, this Toronto condo in 2019
Oh,
was my first year investing. Now
oh, nice.
I have 3 properties now.
Nice. So I got my first property in 2017, and it was a house hack. So if you heard the concept, where live in one unit, let the other unit pay your expenses, if possible for mortgage, or if possible everything. And luckily, this is in 2017. I got a ugliest duplex, and in a up and coming neighborhood for like 102,000. And I spent like 30,000. I got that money from the bank because, purchase plus improvement product for 5% down, and improved the property. Of course, I didn't do anything. I got the contractor there, got the renovations, and I moved into one unit, a 1 bedroom unit. I rented out the 3 bedroom unit. At that time, my 3 bedroom unit was rented for 1,200, and like I mentioned, my mortgage was 102. Sorry, 102 was the purchase price plus 30,000 improvements. So I paid 5% down off of that. So my mortgage was under 120. So my monthly payment was like around $500, plus my property tax, insurance, all in was like $1,000. So I was still making positive $200 living in the property. That was my first property. So obviously I got spoiled from there on. So moving on to your story, like now coming back to, like, rewind back, like, you're in your second year, you started to plant the seeds and you started your Instagram. So now, like, how did you get to, top 20 in social media? What are you doing now? What's your pipeline? Like, how are you building your pipeline of leads?
So to be honest, a lot of majority of my business comes from Instagram now and social
Mhm.
media. I am blessed to have a very, very good network. I am blessed to have very, very good referral network. So over the years, it just started to essentially just doubling. And it just got to a point where, now I have the scale, I have a team, I have a full-time assistant. I
Mhm.
had to learn how to build a business. I had no idea where I'd even get started there, how to hire people, nothing. But I'm just super grateful that my network took me where it took me. I mean, in the beginning, I was cold calling. I was doing all of that. I was building the database. And then, but by having a good social media presence, I was always in front of people. I still am. And by staying relevant, people are going to DM you. People are going to DM me, hey, I want to sell my house. Hey, I want to buy. So I was getting a consistent amount of DMs. And now I'm at a point where it's just very, very consistent. And again, super grateful to be where I am. And I just want to continue growing from there. But my only next step was to build a team, because I maxed out what one individual can do.
Good.
Sure.
A lot of things to unpack there. That's fantastic. So, what type of content do you post on your, Instagram? Like, for someone new, right? Like they're there's so much of advice. Do this, do that, do that. So what is working out for you? What type of content?
For me, it's it's essentially just me being me.
Mm.
I love the dry humor. I love being sarcastic. I love doing funny things. So my first video that hit, and this is when things really started to take off for me, was when I first got into real estate. I just looked at everything from a broad perspective, and I said, okay, every realtor does the same thing. They
Mm.
go to the house, the kitchen, a washroom, and they walk through the house and say, this is a kitchen, this is a washroom, this is a bedroom. That's great, but how do you differentiate? So I said, let me bring my thinking cap and let me start making funny videos while still presenting the house. So, my first video was my co-listing partner at the time. He was walking through the house and I was in the background doing funny activities of what maybe someone might do. But funny things like I was eating a banana in the background, really enjoying it.
Oh.
Maybe in like a sexual way. But it was hilarious. It got people's attention. Then I'm looking in the background, but my pepper shaker was upside down. Then he's walking in the basement. I come out of the cellar with jars of wine. Jars of tomato sauce. I'm Italian, so we call it.
Got it.
That's very relevant for me. So I have these 2 jars of sauce, and everyone loved the video. Like everyone loved the banana. The banana became a thing. I didn't even know it was going to become a thing. I became known for eating a banana. So it's like you won't even know what people are going to love until you post it. And I was very scared to post that because it was a custom home. It was a multi-million-dollar home at the time, and I didn't even want to show my seller because I'm like, shit, presenting this properly. But what actually happened was we got way more views than we would have gotten if we just did a regular video. And since then, I've been doing funny, creative videos. Like on Christmas time, I popped out of a box, a Christmas gift, and I said, get yourself a realtor for Christmas. I started to play, I started to play around and make things funny. I make commercials essentially through Instagram. I started doing educational videos in a funny way. If you go and look at my page, you'll see them. I just did a video today of I'm talking in a British accent, and so it's funny things. It just all it is, guys, is just get people's attention on you. Whatever it takes. Be different. Think outside the box as best you can. Don't be scared to post stuff. If you're if you like being funny and you like humor and that's your style, use it. If you like to be analytic and you like educating, you like to be but you're good at it, use it.
Yeah, love that advice, man. Love it, because that I think that's very, very smart. Cookie cutter, like whatever people are doing on a normal basis, like no one gets likes or views or like no comments, nothing. So be you, try to bring some humor, try to bring some like creativity, your creativity, not like probably someone else. Love that. um Going back to the questions before I continue to ask some more questions here. Rajshekhar, hey, can I get my license on H4EAD in US? Bro, I have no clue. I'm sorry, I can answer unless if you have some idea about US market.
No idea. Sorry.
So if my understanding is correct, like in Canada, if you're on work permit, so H4, I don't know what H4 is, but H1 visa, like work visa, if that's the case, maybe in Canada, you can get your license if you're on work permit. Even though you don't have permanent residency, citizenship, you can still get your license on work permit. I have no clue. Sorry, we have no idea about the yeah. And where did you get your caller list to do the cold calls?
I use Mojo Dialer. Mojo Dialer had a built-in tool where you can draw out an area and it'll generate the caller list for you. So I was doing that for all my numbers. There were times where I would just look up a specific street because I had buyers for it, and I would pull up on Yellow Pages or 411 reverse lookup, and then you can find all the numbers for that street, and then I'll just call them and say, hey, I have a buyer looking for a house in your street. Do you know anyone that's any of your neighbors looking to sell? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that. And Francis, I love your energy, man. Keep it up. Keep that questions coming in. I think, people who ask questions and you soak it up and take some actions on what you learn, you're gonna crush it. So here, another question: is there any agency where you can tie up your initial kick in the business if you have a low budget? I mean, he's referring to the marketing agencies.
Oh, mm,
So he has low budget, and he's asking if there is any marketing agencies that could help him to
well, I mean, I
kickstart
think
the
that's
business.
a good question for you because you started on a very low budget.
Yeah, so I would share definitely. So basically, I started with almost minus budget.
Yeah,
So for me, I had no option, like because when I don't have budget, I don't want to spend any money at all. So I started doing videos on YouTube. That's how I started, because there is no one in Windsor who was doing YouTube videos, who is talking about Windsor, talking about real estate. So that's how I started. Like I started doing my videos even when before I got my license. Like on the day I registered for exams, I shooted my first video. So I was constantly posting videos, and I was going for a lot of networking events. So those are the one that helped me a lot to kickstart my business. So because there is no budget needed at that point, because it's all like I was doing my editing, because at that point, what you have when you're new, what you have in your hand is your time. If you don't have money, I didn't have money. um Utilize your time. So do like Matthew was suggesting, like do those post different Instagram reels, try a different reels where you can stand out. And or try TikTok videos, post or videos or a content that can get attention on you, and people would know that you're in real estate, not like completely random shit. Try to put it more relevant to the real estate, but keep it with your personal touch. Probably that's what I would recommend you if you're a new person. But on top of it, again, I don't know how much this Google ads or Facebook ads, if you're referring to the market agencies, how much they work. Have you used any of the marketing, the those kind of paid ads?
I used to do like a couple. I mean, you can do like there's like bold leads is like $800 a month. Um, they're pretty good. Like they're pretty good leads though. The thing with leads, I think it's a 2% conversion rate on
Mhm.
that. Might not be like best place to start, but you can find videos on YouTube and Facebook on how to run your own Facebook ads at a very low budget. And I've done that where I've only spent maybe $70, $100 here and there, and I got a listing out of it, and I
Wow,
sold a property for 750,000 off
there
a
you go.
very small budget. So there's videos out there on how to do like your own Facebook ads. Again, it's free to watch the video. If you don't want to have anyone to pay or don't want to pay anyone, you can do it yourself. Especially in the beginning, you're gonna have time. Doesn't
Yeah.
hurt to start, throw your own like little Facebook ads out there at a low budget. And then Instagram is a free tool, YouTube's a free tool. So I would utilize all the free tools. It's just about exposure, plaster yourself everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, love that. And what's your business look like currently? Like how many transactions have you made last year, and what are you up to right now this year?
Last year it was close to 60.
Wow, in Toronto, what's the average price?
I see. This is where I'm not a numbers guy, and I never, and that's the things I had to learn. But I don't know my average price, but
But mostly in GTA, right? Like in and around GTA.
there's a lot. Like, I mean, majority of things are $1 million, right?
Yeah, that's insane. Like 60 in GTA, that's like to me, and that's by yourself, right? Like just you. You don't
Just
have a team.
yeah, and
And
then some of that was pre-construction, so I didn't get
Mhm.
paid for it, but we did
So
about uh, I think like 20 or 15 pre-construction deals too. Um,
mhm.
this year is a different market,
Yeah.
but we're still plugging away. And what I did this year, I took a step back and I spent a lot more money on the business. I
Mhm.
hired a bookkeeper, so someone who tracks my numbers for me now, tracks my business. And then I have a full-time assistant who handles my operations, and I have a buyer agent currently. So this year has been a bit of a let me take a step back and rebuild,
Mm.
and hope to launch even further in the next couple of years.
Yeah, make a lot of sense. And so, I get this question from a lot of agents who are like just start to get busy. So when is the right time? Like when did you decide to hire your first um, help? Like who is that helper, and when did you decide like to get the help?
I decided too late, I think, but I probably could have used it in my fourth year.
Hmm.
I would say when business starts to fall through the cracks because you can't physically and mentally stay on top of everything, get help.
Yeah.
You
So who is the first person you hired? Like what role?
you got to go, and this is like everyone who runs a successful team will tell you this. You have to hire an assistant first or some sort of admin. Build a
Yeah.
foundation first before adding other agents.
Yeah, love that. I agree with you. First person I got in is like my operations manager, come admin, come last listing agent, and transaction coordinator. All those roles together. Come also my YouTube editor is my wife.
I love it.
I hired, thank God, I hired like literally within, I mean, not technically hiring, right? Like she was working part time. So I
Yeah,
asked her, can you help me? Like she was like more than happy. She wanted like, let's do together, right?
yeah, it's
And we were doing from literally like since I got into the business, maybe after, even before I got into the business, first like with the videos, I hated editing. I edited for 2 3 videos, and then she was like, she jumped, okay, I can help you. And then
yeah.
she started doing part-time on the editing, and then eventually after the transactions, like after 4 or 5 transactions, I started to feel like, man, I don't like this paperwork, can you help me?
It definitely cannot stand paperwork anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, like leverage any family members you have who can help you with this admin tasks that you can really trust. Like that's the first place I would look for. And moving on to your GTA, how is the market now? What's your take? um what's your predictions?
I mean, with like a lot of this is just it's what's going on, and it's human psychology, right? Like it's interesting to see. I think me studying history helps me with
Yeah.
perspective.
Mhm.
But you'll see when the beginning of the year and end of last year, when the market was really hot, people were running and fighting to overpay for homes because they felt like they needed to. They didn't know why they were,
Yeah.
but naturally because there's competition and other humans are doing it, they feel a need that okay, if they're doing it, I must do it.
Mm.
It's a funny way of thinking. It's just human psychology. And now when the news come out that interest rates are going up, recession, all this stuff, no one wants to buy anymore. But when is a great time to buy? Times like this,
Yeah.
right? This is where you get deals, where you take advantage of things. It's when you're not competing. So everyone rushes to compete with each other, but it works in the opposite way. So how I'm seeing things right now is definitely a slowdown. There's no doubt about that. Things are definitely corrected as they should have. Things got out of
Mhm.
control for sure. At the end of the day, especially Toronto and the core, it's a global economy, right? Like it's a great city globally. It's recognized. We have so much coming here from tech companies to we have I think most amount of cranes up right now in a city.
Yeah.
Development happening here, much more to come. So the future is bright. If you're a long term, best way to look at real estate is you can never time the bottom,
Yeah.
and it's a long term game. So whether you get into the market now, and even if things were to keep correcting a little bit, let's say you bought something for 900,000, 6 months from now it's worth 850.
Mhm.
5 years from now it's going to be worth 1.2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just comes down to perspective. Don't think too narrow minded on what's currently happening now. Make it a long term goal for yourself. Set it, forget it. As long as your numbers make sense on a monthly basis, then you're good. I'm hoping everything recovers. Um, you know, by the fall, early next year.
Yeah.
But,
I feel the same.
but we don't know. Realistically, no one knows what's going to happen,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Again, if you're in long-term investor, right? Like that's like you said, this is the time where you can get some good discounts.
Yeah,
You're already like the price has already dropped by at least in Windsor 15% from the peak. 15
yeah,
16%. And if you're a good negotiator, like if you work with the right people, maybe you can get more discount on top of that discount. So from the so you're buying in at a good time. Again, no one knows what's going to happen, but at least if you're buying with the good fundamentals, where you have a right cash flow, even if the interest rate goes up by 1% or 2%, if you can integrate that calculations into your current numbers, and if the numbers still make sense, why not? That's what I've been hearing for most of the sophisticated, pro investors and the pros in the industry saying. And a lot of people, of course, I agree with you. The psychology, it's a human tendency, like, when everyone flows, I want to go with them because it's a more comforting.
Yes.
Yeah. And at the end, everyone need a place to live, and especially city like GTA, man.
We have so many
There's,
immigrants coming in the next 3 years too, so
yeah, yeah.
they're just not.
And so what's your future plans look like on the sales side and the investing side?
So obviously the business, want to keep being relevant, want to keep growing, reaching new milestones, getting a team going. I have no idea where my future is going to take me. I have the podcast is blowing up for me. It's doing amazing. I'm going to start traveling for that soon. So there's a lot on the go. I like to think of myself more as an entrepreneur versus just a real estate agent. Whatever doors kind of open and opportunities come my way, I'm definitely open-minded to it. So I'm very open to whatever the future has in store for me. I'm a big believer that, the world is our oyster if we make it, if we can believe that it can be. And there's a lot of beautiful things that can happen, right? And in terms of investing, I'm definitely interested in some rental arbitrage at the moment. And I do want to keep the Airbnb portfolio growing. I love the returns. It's a fun game to be a part of. I love the process. I love designing the house. I love watching my email blow up with bookings in real time and just saying, there's another booking. There's another booking. You get to see people's reviews. They love your home. Like it's just a cool community to be a part of. I don't really want to deal with landlord-tenant board. So
yeah.
I think for the next few, we'll keep the Airbnb game going.
Love that. And you touched a little bit on your podcast. So just curious, like, what's the story with this podcast? Like, why did you start it up, and what's the, how is it performing now?
Yeah, so it was. I have two podcasts. I have one which is more entrepreneurial based mindset. I have that with two other co-hosts, and we just bring on entrepreneurs in different spaces. That was the first one we started in 2020. And then I got approached by my current partners on Price to Sell to host the real estate podcast. So like, Matt, we have the studio, we have the resources, we want you to be the face. I said, you know what, let's do it. At the time, I didn't think I had any more time to fit anything in my schedule, but we did it. Best thing I've ever done. I didn't know what kind of outcome to expect, but it's been amazing feedback. A ton of people are reaching out, I spoke on stage about it. It's been a really humbling experience, and it's been growing rapidly. I couldn't be any more grateful for the current progress, and I'm excited to see where it goes. We're going to keep bringing on amazing guests like yourself, and keep giving value to all the agents out there, especially the newer ones, because there's a lot of things to learn.
Yeah, lot of golden nuggets. When I saw your podcast, like I think it's 3-4 months ago, before I came to your podcast, I loved it. Like some of very cool guys like that I've been following. I want to know their stories, how they started and what kind of struggles they went through, and hearing that from especially Canada, right? Like we don't have Canada agent specific podcasts.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy your podcast, Price to Sell. I didn't know about your other podcasts. What do you guys talk on that one?
It's called the It's Simple podcast, and it's just entrepreneurial focused. We like to hear people's stories. It's very similar. Where generally speaking, Instagram, social media is a highlight reel. All you see is people's wins. You'll never see their losses. It's very discouraging. A lot of people comparing leads to depression for many, leads to a lot of mental illnesses. It's not fun, right? So what you have to do is bring people on and showcase, what did you struggle with? How did you get to where you're at? What was the blood, sweat, and tears that people don't see? And that we do that in hopes of people getting encouraged and inspired, like, wow, you know what, I'm experiencing a similar difficulty in life right now, and look what this person did. They overcame it, and look where they are now. So it's like, it's not the end of the world. There's, you know, you can be resilient and get through anything in life as long as you have the right support system around you and the right mindset. So that's kind of the message we'd like to send there.
Yeah, love that. And so, what are some of your struggles, like, in this business? What did you ever felt like you want to quit?
No, I'm obsessed. So I wake up every day. I'm a big self-development guy, right? A big spiritual guy, big law of attraction, manifestation. Like, I am huge with that stuff. So I make sure to have my practices every morning where I get my mindset right. I start
Like
my
what?
systems right. Oh, I wake up, I meditate, I journal. Sometimes I do breath work. But my main core two practices is journaling and meditation in the morning. And then I like to go to bed and visualize my future self and have a conversation with my future self. So me and future Matt, we're good buddies.
Love that, man. Love that.
Yeah.
Like, along with this, like, do you are you into any books, or like, anything that helped you along the way?
Yeah, I mean, I have a life coach. I have coaches for different parts of life. I'm into, I go to retreats. I read different books. So us as humans have a crazy amount of potential that is untapped. And once you're able to learn how to tap into our superpowers, I call them, possibilities are endless. And that starts with, having the right people around you who have similar mindsets, and you guys just bounce off each other and just grow. So
Yeah,
books are
love.
audiobooks mainly because I'm driving a lot. So
What's your favorite one?
the Think and Grow Rich has been amazing. Supreme Influence by Noriko was amazing.
Sorry, what's the second one?
Supreme Influence.
Supreme Influence.
Supreme Influence, a very good book. The Michael Singer books. I just blanked on the name. I have both of them, but
I have the same problem.
Yeah, there's a ton of books out there that
Yeah.
you can.
Here, I think Sweta is asking like same question. Like, is there any coach who teaches commercial real estate and commercial residential practical things for brand new realtor? Wow.
With that, I would just find a mentor figure, find someone who excels in both, whether they're a team leader or just an agent, and see if they can take you under their wing.
Actually, that brings me to another question like that many people ask me, is how can I find a coach? How can I, like, what are the ways? How did you find your first coach?
Mike, I went to a Mike Ferry conference and I just signed up.
Yeah.
I sold. But I mean, they're all valuable in their own way, right? But they all have different styles. So it takes a lot of research. Google different real estate coaches in your area. If you're Canadian, try and get a real Canadian coach. If you're American coach, because our businesses are a little bit different. I'm not saying you can't have a American coach as a Canadian. You can. I did that. A lot of the basic principles and practices in real estate, what makes you successful, are the same. But it's cool to have someone in your own marketing. You can Google different coaches and research them and have a phone conversation with them. And you, at the end of the day, you decide. You make the decision. So don't be scared to ask a lot of questions and vet.
Yeah, actually, I have an announcement on regarding that sense, the mastermind and the coaching side. So actually, I'm also starting a workshop. It's actually tomorrow. So if anyone wants to know more about like coaching and getting a mentor, or actually a mastermind group where you can connect it with other realtors. So I'll put the link in the description or in the comments. There's a workshop coming up tomorrow, almost the same time, 7 p.m. It's a free workshop. You don't have to pay anything, but where you'll learn a lot, and also like mostly only for realtors. We got here some more questions from Pradeep. In which area do you recommend doing Airbnb? For instance, like lakeshore or mountain, scenic, or tourism based?
Yeah, it's a hospitality business at the end of the day. So you want to make somewhere where there's activity, events going on. Like downtown Toronto, for example, is a hub for many different things, right? Every month there might be something new, whether it's a convention or people traveling for a film festival, things like that. But you want to have, you want to be close proximity to amenities, if it's transit, maybe people are on business. But scenic things are all very nice as well. It is a vacation home at the end of the day, right? So people, if you're in the mountains and you have a mountain view, people are going to book your place all day, right? So it's every place has their own, brings their own value to the table for tourism. So you just got to look at it from a perspective of tourism and hospitality and why people would want to stay in that area. If you're in the middle of nowhere, there's really no purpose or point of someone booking that home, right?
And also, does Airbnb has any kind of stats shows, where is the higher occupancy, which areas have higher occupancy, which areas have lower occupancy?
You're asking me a question that?
Yeah, like does Airbnb has any kind of stats like that?
Not that I know firsthand. For me, I made it a point to find people that I can talk to who do the Airbnb already in that area, and I actually want to look at their numbers. Like show me your money, like show me what you're making, and then that's what kind of gives me the confidence. And I do my own research and tourism and all that stuff, so it's pretty easy to find information.
Yeah. And guys, it's already 8 o'clock. Time just fly. I just realized, like, wow. I think we'll take one final question. And Matt, I know you're busy. I know your phone is already ringing. Just one more question, and then we'll call it a day for now. Here, Francis has a big question here. Maybe I'll let you read.
As a new agent coming to the market soon, I'm a little scared of how the market is turning into. Fall down even more. So as an agent, we're blessed, but the sales will be worse.
That's a continuous of the question.
Or will we see people come back to the market and to shop? So in a down market, people are going to buy. In a high market, people are going to sell. So you're able, as an agent, we can get both sides of that. There's always food on the table. Now, is it harder now? For sure, because there's a lot of uncertainty. A lot of people are more hesitant and reluctant to pull trigger. But this is the best market to learn in. I learned in a down market in 2017 after the mortgage rules came out. I had my first listing I lost my first listing. Didn't sell it. I got fired. I learned the hardest way, and I would advise, if you're going to get into real estate right now, do it, because you're going to really learn how to sell a house. If you got into a hot market where homes sell themselves, it's doing its job for you. This is a very good market to learn in. So don't be scared. Eat it up, learn, take your time, because when the market comes back, you're going to be on top of a lot of other agents. So
yeah, love that, because this is the time where you're becoming stronger, because to make one sale you have to put a lot more time, and in that time your mindset is changing. Like either you quit or you become a rock star in this market.
Yeah, exactly.
So love that, man. So I don't want to hold you up anymore. I know you already gave more than 1 hour here. So thank you so much, brother. And how people can find you? Where is the best place to find?
Instagram at Matt Campoli, so MattCampoli, and then you follow the podcast. It's at Price to Sell Podcast on Instagram. You'll see it in my link.
I'll make sure I'll put them in the description and in the comments as well. So make sure to check out Matt's cool videos there, because you can always get the inspiration. And also, like, if anyone so you serve a GTA area, right? Like anyone interested to buy or sell in
Toronto, Simcoe.
Yeah, so there you go. You have a guy who is creative, who knows how to sell the listings.
There you go. I do.
Yeah. Though I have seen some of your listing videos, man. They're pretty cool. So keep it up. I definitely, it's inspiring. I'm taking some inspiration out of it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you so much, Matt. Have a wonderful evening.
Thanks for having me. We'll definitely collaborate soon.
Sure, definitely. And thank you so much, guys. I hope you had you got some nuggets here. So make sure to hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment below. And see you on the next live.
Cheers.